friend, this book comes as an honor to Mallikarjun Kharge on the occasion of his 80th birthday anniversary and half century of his political life, completed on July 22nd, 2022 last year, as a political leader, social reformer and researcher, educator. Publication was delayed by about a year, partly due to COVID and partly due to translation of article from Kannada, Marathi, Hindi into English. The book is based on article and messages from almost 73% cutting across political parties and differing ideologies and his friends. It turned into 300 pages with 10 chapters, including an introduction of 54 pages by editor. Lengthy introduction synthesizes the main story which emerged from the articles and disclose less known aspect of his life. It is a fascinating story of a man who emerged as a political leader, social reformer and educator from nowhere to up there as a president of Congress party in 2022, from a president of Gulbarga City Congress 50 years before in 1969. The book gives multiple aspects of his life. It begins with a description of his upbringing of early childhood in poverty, miseries, and caste discrimination, primary education in school under the shade of tea, school and college education which was not immune from discrimination. Like Dr. Ambedkar, he was denied to take a Sanskrit language as a subject in high school. It also presents his early activism as a youth under influence of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar in Gulbarga, participated in agitation for redistribution of land to Dalit, and was put into jail for about a week, and his work for labor in mill in which his father worked. It provides an account of motivation for entry into the Congress in 1969. I discussed with him, and among other considerations, this entry into Congress was due to socialist idea and policies of Jawaharlal Nehru University with basic and key industry, health, education and insurance under the state domain, use of economic planning, which was carried forward, and these ideas were carried forward by Srimati Indira Gandhi with nationalization of bank, withdrawal of privy purses and anti-poverty program. These socialist policies found him most promising for the poor and the marginalized section. There is a lengthy discussion in the book about the contribution as a member of the State Legislative Assembly, minister in Karnataka and union minister spanning over 5 decades. As a 9-time MLA from 1972 to 2009, for about 37 years, a state minister for about 17 years, holding several portfolios, including labor and employment and railway at the center during 2009 and 19. The book captured the unique strategy of social inclusion and pro-poor development he followed as a minister. In fact, on policy front, he was much ahead of his time in using the inclusive and pro-poor policy, which was much later adopted by the World Bank in early 2000, and in the 11th and 12th plan by Indian government, I think under UPA 1 and 2. It also includes discussion on his remarkable contribution in policy for backward region of 6th district of Kalyan, Karnataka, through a constitutional amendment with insertion of Article 371J in 2030. It discusses also innovative policies of Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana. As a labor minister, it was lauded by the World Bank and the International Labour Organization. And policy for transport lauded by International Association of Public Transport in an apex body for international public transport, Brussels, Belgium. This is described in great detail in the book. It highlights his qualities as a people's-oriented, innovative and compassionate administrator, as written by some of the administrators who worked with him when he was minister. There is equally an insightful discussion in the book as a leader of opposition in Karnataka Legislative Assembly and Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, contributor in this book praised his scholarly role as well as human qualities as passionately described by several opposition leaders in the book, for giving encouragement to the young members of the parliament irrespective of the party. The book has detailed discussion on the ideological base which made him so compassionate for the poor and the marginalized. Writers after writers have pointed out the foundation of his social and political engagement being shaped by Ambedkarism and Buddhism. He followed Ambedkar's pragmatism to combine policies of economic development with reform of caste-ridden society. He built up one of the largest Buddhist vihara in the country in Gulbarga, carrying message for rebuilding of inequitous caste society towards a goal of equity, freedom and fraternity. And an institute of Pali, Sanskrit and comparative religion, including educational society, which run about 18 education institutions. The book captures his role in taking the Congress party forward and reflect on the element of his model of politics, which enable people to express faith in him, to represent them for over half a century, which possibly has an implication for the Congress party. Friends, I will end by saying that it is an insightful account of his life, because I believe that it is based on an honest view of writer which came from their heart and mind. I read them line by line and synthesized in 54 pages introduction. I feel the views are honest probably because they are expressed much before he was elected as the president of the Congress, almost 1 year before. Nobody visualized him to occupy high position. Only exception was a party colleague, Abhishek Singhvi, who predicted, and I therefore end the remark and this brief introduction with his quote. He says, Kharge's political career had yet to reach a peak. And he goes on to add that Mallikarjun Kharge has conquered diverse peaks, but the best is yet to come. I wish him a sound health to serve the country forward.